Hello and welcome to Move Live, presented by SharpStack. Ryan Noonan, joined here as always, Brent Connor Allen, talking about what we saw here for Week 10. What's coming up on Week 11? How we doing?
Good, man. It was a weird week for me. Won a couple of bets that I probably shouldn't have. Lost a couple that I felt like I shouldn't have. So overall, up heading into Monday Night Football, but nothing too much to complain about.
I felt like I got in so good all week. I felt good. Sometimes you just want to feel like you got in good for the week, and you'll let the chips fall where they may. And so that feels like a good week. I definitely wish I would have had some different results. Felt bad right away when like Kyle Pitts drops what probably is going to be like a 35, 40-yard catch and run in the first possession of that early game for the day, and then hold it on and obviously lose Kyle Pitts by 4 yards, even though OT saved us. Felt like sometimes that's like, it's always bad. You feel like it actually doesn't impact your day, but feels like things to come are happening, and kind of what went down. Good defensive day. So we're gonna hang our head there.
Tackle props are great.
Tackle props are great. We're gonna keep doing that, and excited to. I can't believe we're here. I think got some bangers here. I feel like we know who the good teams are even more. I feel like some of the bad teams lost. Kind of makes it a little bit clear. Some good football to talk about. So, want to remind folks before we dig in, check out SharpStack, free 7-day trial. I don't know why you wouldn't have already done so if you're hanging out with us and watching any of these shows, any of the stuff that we're doing. It's a fantastic tool. And again, it's 7 days for free. You can use variations of promo codes depending on what you want to do. If you just want to extend for another month for $10, win NBA, we'll get you an additional month on top of the 7-day free trial. So take the 7-day free trial, stack another month on top, $10, typically $130 or so. Again, we want your feedback. We'd love to know what your thoughts are, what you would add, what you want to see, what you like about it. As we continue to fine tune that. Again, suite of betting tools, the EV tool is kind of the main thing there. We'd love, again, your feedback and check it out. So come back on Friday for props with Slop as always. It felt like that parlay was a banger this week too. Just didn't get there. So
yeah, not quite.
Right. Not quite. That tends to be what happens with 7-8 leg parlays with an uncorrelated leg in there too.
I was with Rahul, and he was like, we're going through all of our bets. Like, oh, this one lost us. It's like, yeah, your 8-leg parlay didn't win. I was like, oh, my $15 to win $100,000 parlay didn't win. Like, no shit. Like, it's like, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. My oldest will get, sometimes like just blown away by like the level of engagement. Sometimes you'll see like a show will do or tweets will do, like you just happen to be here, like came in right after the show ended. And I'm like, this bet that we made. I showed him like, here's the tweet. Connor just sent this tweet. Watch. I'll show you this tweet again in like 5 hours.
Yeah.
And I'll show it to you again tomorrow morning and you'll be blown away. And he's like, did you bet that? He's like, that's so stupid. That's never going to hit. I'm like, Brady, I know it's a $15 to win $100,000 bet, but watch how many people love this bet. It's just exactly why we're doing it. It's fun. And imagine like, what would happen if all these people tailed that bet? Like, and it won. Like, I would love to find out.
We'd make national news. I mean, it'd be like, better wins I don't even know, millions and millions of dollars. Like bettors win millions and millions of dollars on some parlay. Like there'd be stories written about us. We'd go down in the betting history, like in fame there.
I feel like we keep pumping those out. It's worth $15 a week for the small chance to never be famous for that. So,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just getting good. All right, it feels like a lifetime ago, but the Broncos beat the Raiders 10-7. What are the Broncos, Connor? What do we make of the Broncos? They're 8-2. I don't even know what they are other than 8-2, which is pretty damn good.
Defense without Surtain is good, which is good to see, but weren't really battle tested. Offense continues to just be not good. They scream like a team that's going to make playoffs, have a good seed or relatively good seed. I mean, Mayo's bet earlier of them not to make the playoffs is interesting. Still think they're going to make the playoffs and then probably lose by like a touchdown or more in the wild card round. So unless they figure something out offensively, like I just don't know what the option is here. I mean, there was 3 points scored in the second half of that game, 10-7 final score, complete disaster.
Raiders defense is, it's just not good. It's not good in the secondary. I mean, their front played okay. It's just not a team that should ever hold anyone to 10 points at home. Broncos still currently favored pretty much, across the market to win the AFC West. like plus 130 on FanDuel with the Chiefs at plus 150. They meet this week, first of two meetings. I mean, I like the Chiefs in the game. I'll tell you that much. Coming off of a bye, we also have the Andy Reid off a bye situation, which has kind of been somewhat bulletproof for literally back to his Philly days. 3.5, 4 points is the total there. I think there's also opportunities to just jump into the Chiefs in the division is probably another viable way to go about it.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Chiefs. Yeah, 3.5, 4 points on the road. It's not enough. I think. I mean, it could be even. I mean, like the Chiefs could I'm not saying shut out the Broncos, but like 17 points would be a lot for the Broncos. It seems like at this point.
Yeah, I mean, think about some of these Broncos games, right? Like good win in Philly. I think that changed some thoughts earlier. We weren't really sure what was going on. They seemed to be a team with decent expectations, go into Philly and win. Just kind of an ugly, like play with your food Jets game that they should have really like blown them out and they didn't. The Giants game, they needed all the fourth quarter magic in that game. I think speaks more to what happens with the Giants when they get into the fourth quarter than anything Denver did specifically. In hindsight, Dallas isn't a team that we expect much. Houston game like without CJ Stroud, like I don't know. I'm just not buying it. It's a team that we thought would to make the playoffs was a great value at like plus money, plus 110 or so in the preseason. Over 9.5 wins, have those. Feel good about those. They're 8-2, but not a legit threat.
No, I mean, yeah, again, like we said, like if the offense can make some changes or have some good games, maybe, but that just doesn't, I mean, I don't even count the Cowboys game where they scored 44 points because the Cowboys defense is it's like the Bengals. We talk about them every week. Like it's like scratch them off the record. I mean, we'll get to it when we get to it with the whole Justin Fields shit, but
yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We're in Germany for the opener on Sunday morning, 31-25 with the Colts over the Falcons in overtime. Would have been, I think, probably a pretty bad loss, and actually could have had massive implications. I think the show is pretty different today if we're talking about a Colts loss and a Jags win in Houston. Neither of those things happened. They both kind of flipped in the end. Any takeaways for either squad there in Germany?
7 sacks for Daniel Jones, not good.
Back-to-back weeks, taking on a lot of pressure. Back-to-back weeks.
I mean, I hate to make this comp, but I mean, we saw Sam Darnold play incredible for 13, 14 weeks, and then have 2 really, really bad games back-to-back, and then not play all that well in the playoffs. Like, I just think that it shows like when things are clicking for Daniel Jones and this Colts team, I think that they're a really good team. Like when it's going well. When it's not going well, there's still a lot of holes with this team and with Daniel Jones specifically. So like he's holding on to the ball too long. Now when you have Jonathan Taylor to help cover it up, 32 carries for 244 yards and 3 touchdowns, that helps. There's still other ways that they can win outside of just like having a good passing attack. So that's the upside for the Colts. The downside is that like their defense is still not all that good. I mean, adding Sauce Gardner helps obviously, and like I'm sure it'll probably get better, but like it's still not quite there yet, I don't think.
Yeah, they'll get Charvarius Ward back. That'll really help to solidify things a little bit. Shout out to a guy, OG Bill Simmons guy. Simmons pointed out, the Pats get a lot of like Pats schedule talk. What's the Colts schedule? They beat Denver, and like that was a controversial like field goal thing at the end, where that really shouldn't have been. Whatever. They beat Denver. They beat the Chargers on the road. It's kind of their hallmark win to this point. Their 2 losses were at the Rams pretty handily, and then obviously the Pittsburgh one last week. So again, beating up on the Chargers. I mean, the Raiders, the Cardinals, Miami, Tennessee. Like I don't know.
Tennessee twice. Yeah.
Tennessee twice. It's kind of a soft 8-2, right? Like they got to cut their teeth a little bit here at the end. They got to buy at Kansas City. Again, still pretty easy. They got to go on the road to Seattle. They got San Francisco at home, but again, they got a bunch of division games. They got Houston twice, Jacksonville twice. It's a playoff team, but again, kind of like a better version of Denver. I think that they can be good because I think the roster is better. I feel better about Daniel Jones and all the pieces there, but in terms of like threatening the top of the board in the AFC, still a little hesitant there.
Yeah, when push comes to shove, and I'm assuming all like health for the playoffs, I think I would still put them behind the Chiefs, behind the Bills, behind the Ravens at full health. And then you start talking about the Colts, probably. Patriots. I'd probably have the Patriots ahead of the Colts. But I think it's close. I mean, that's like
Yeah, I think it's
closer.
close. Yeah.
Also, like maybe the defense, like you said, Travarius Ward comes back. I think Lou with, Sauce and Travarius Ward, like their run defense still is not played all that well, but
They just lost their best defensive player to IR for 4 weeks, is DeForest Buckner, who's awesome. Yeah. It's a big loss for them, and it'll show up at times. And again, we can show up in some other situations where teams are able to get pressure, like those Houston games, Seattle, even Kansas City coming out of the bye. That's kind of a path to slow down what's going on with the Colts. So Falcons takeaways. I never know. I feel like they can beat anybody and then can lose to really bad football teams too.
Yeah, I mean, defense, I think, kind of showed that it was a little bit fraudulent early on in the year with like the passing numbers they were allowing, just kind of based on like game script and everything. Bijan was a little bit better than he has been in previous weeks. They used Algier more. They talked about that. And they actually did it, which, again, kicking myself, almost played over 18 yards. He ended up with 57 and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, that's tough because it was a fringe one for me that I didn't end up pushing. And then Drake London continues to be used at like Darnell Mooney's just like a nothing burger. So I think all the splits from last year can probably just throw out the window at this point. But and then your guy Kyle Pitts continues to not be good, unfortunately. Even in a great matchup and 5 targets and just can't
drop the ball, and then was like way underthrown on a wide open, would have been touchdown, and that was it for that one. Easy schedule coming. I mean, next 3 for Atlanta, Carolina, New Orleans, and the Jets. 3 winnable football games. They could also lose any of those 3 games. That's kind of them in a nutshell. They're definitely on the outside looking in for the playoff picture at this point. So are the Carolina Panthers after their 17-7 loss at home. Again, another situation where we have to come on today and talk about, are the Panthers legit and viable? But they went ahead and took care of that for us. Tyler Shutt looked okay. 17-25, 282, 2 scores. I don't know. Panthers just aren't very good. And, Bryce Young just ain't it.
He's not it. That's for sure. I mean, just continues to do nothing. Like, doesn't matter who's playing. Saints defense is not very good. Does less than nothing. They tried to jam Rico Dowdle. Didn't work out. 2.9 yards per carry. Tat was like injured. So 5 or 60. Again, he still needs to be above average. Basically just him and Rico Dowdle are the only like redeeming qualities right now about this offense, it seems like.
Yeah.
But on the Saints side, 22 carries for Alvin Kamara was wild. I mean, that just came out of nowhere.
Very caught us both off guard.
Yeah, I mean, previous high was he had 21 in week 2. Hasn't had more than 11 carries since September 28th.
He's been pretty inefficient on those 11.
And he still was inefficient. 3.8 yards per carry wasn't good. That's with a 16-yard run too. So very strange game here. Tyler Shutt, though, I mean, it was kind of the theory that we had all along of like, we don't know if he's gonna be any good. He's probably not any good, but maybe he's okay and plays okay here and they get a win. That's kind of like I think the thought behind the Saints here. So going forward, I'm not like necessarily upgrading them or downgrading them massively. But like, could they beat the Jets? Maybe. At the Dolphins, like the Dolphins played obviously really well. They could beat the Titans maybe at the end of the season. So
sure,
they could win a couple more games.
Yeah. Defense played well. They didn't, like, I thought looking at them, like, did they like stack the box a ton with Rico? They didn't. They were like
really
second lowest stacked box rate in the league for the week. So I'm like, okay, they sold out to stop Rico, knowing that Bryce couldn't beat him, but they didn't. They just kind of got the job done. So good showing for the Saints. And, again, we give kudos to Hayden Winks doing a great job coaching that team. That's the coach, right? He's the coach. He looks just like him.
He does. What's their Saints are 10th in rushing success rate allowed on the season.
Yeah, we've I think not attacked them a couple times because the defense has been okay. They've had these like random games where they pop up and just kind of show up. Demario Davis is really playing good ball. He's like 37 years old, linebacker, and just kind of kicking ass still. It's good for him. thought he was getting traded at the deadline for sure, but did not. So yeah, those teams are both done. Again, any Panthers thoughts of them being a playoff team, they kind of handled that for us this week. Bears 24-20. They needed all of that. And they also needed a Jackson Dart concussion to get themselves there. This is the end of the Brian Daboll era, fired earlier today. Giants just kind of melting down at this point. Should probably start thinking about what the future looks like. Mike Kafka will be holding down the head coaching role. In the meantime, probably no Jackson Dart for this week. The concussion, we'll wait and see. But concussion felt inevitable. Like a lot of blue tent trips for Jackson Dart since he's taken over. Some shorter than others when others got involved, but this one seems like it was, he landed on his face pretty hard and probably misses this week.
I'm just sad that we won't get any more Connor Hughes softcore porn about Jackson Dart and Brian Daboll. That first off, that was ridiculous. Second,
it was ridiculous.
I still think that Daboll's a decent offensive coordinator. Like he's just worked with like nothing for 3 years. Like
he'll get a job for sure.
Yeah. Like, I think it's actually a good year to need an offensive coordinator between him and Mike McDaniel almost certainly getting fired. And like maybe being able to convince one of them to be your offensive coordinator. Like, that's like a dream to me. If you can like hire an offensive coordinator, maybe the Lions could be a good fit after changing play callers to Dan Campbell and off of John Morton. Plenty of other teams. Basically, I would say 50% of the league would probably have an upgrade with one of those guys. So like maybe not a great head coach, just didn't have a whole lot though. I think Joe Shane is significantly more of a problem GM than Brian Daboll, but they kept Joe Shane around and they dumped Brian Daboll. So tough for him. And I think Jackson Dart is good. You give him a full set of options here, he'll be pretty interesting. But in the meantime, it's just not a very good team. And the Bears on the other side, man. Gritty win by
6-3.
That was like they didn't play very well all game. Like their offense didn't play well, like basically all game. And then Caleb just kind of like willed them to a win. Receivers dropped a bunch of balls. He missed a couple of throws. And then then their defense just continues to live and die by turnovers. Like it's crazy. They are so bad. Like I just can't get over how bad they are, to be honest, on a play-to-play basis. But then they end up being good overall because they just like get turnovers. Basically, that's it. It's crazy.
Plus 160 on DraftKings is the best to make the playoff number for the Bears.
No.
Yeah, you can lay Caesars minus 195, DraftKings minus 200. Again, I feel like they're comfortably the 8th team currently, I guess. I guess you can make the case to Minnesota, like whoever wins this week 11 matchup between the Bears and Vikings in Minnesota. The Vikings are 3-point favorites, some 2.5s out there on Pinnacle, a little juicy. Totals kind of all over the map, but I think they're both probably outside the playoff picture. But as we talked about earlier today, I think the loser is clearly out of it. Any thoughts on that one?
I don't know if they've beaten a good team. Like so I'm going through their schedule. They beat the Cowboys 31-14, probably their best win.
Tough.
Then you have the Raiders 25-24, narrow win. Like probably shouldn't have won that one either. I think it was the blocked kick at the end that they won or something like that, or something ridiculous. Commanders without Jaden Daniels. No, the Commanders had Jaden Daniels at that point.
It did have Jaden Daniels. Yeah.
Okay, so that's for sure their best win. Okay, so that one, the Cowboys won. Okay, then they beat the Saints. Whatever. They lose to the Ravens without Lamar. They beat the Bengals without, or nearly lose, but without Burrow. Then they beat the Giants without Dart. It might be the most fraudulent wins like I've seen in a while, to be honest.
It doesn't get easier. Really, there's we got to host the Browns later in the year. Otherwise, the rest of the games, either divisional opponents or teams that are above 500 in the playoff picture. So it's a tough path for the Bears. And again, there is something to be said for winning football games. Like this is just narrative based for sure, but like especially with kind of a young quarterback, new head coach, the wins are good. Like it starts to build that into the culture of what you're doing. That's why like some people would study like the tanking stuff back in the
right,
like the Sixers days, right? Where like it's just sell, tank, let's just stack it for next year. We start to build this like losing culture in these young players. Is not really good either. So it's really good. I don't know if that's going to translate to wins and losses this year, but I think for the Bears fans, if you really were to pull any like real Bears fan this year, I think you wanted to kind of get an answer that like at least that Caleb's the guy. Like not that Caleb is like a guy, but like Caleb is the guy. We can do this again next year. We got that first year head coach stuff under his belt, and then kind of move forward. And I think that's kind of going to be probably a win for the Bears when we kind of look back on the year. And again, if they absolutely get boat raced to the schedule and all of a sudden they win like 6 or 7 games and you kind of finish like 7-10, it's not going to feel that way as much, but I don't know. We'll see.
That's squarely in the range of outcomes right here. So yeah, I would take a screenshot of how you feel now, or just like think about it, save that, and then we'll revisit this in a little bit because it's definitely doesn't get easier. But a couple of big wins here could go a long way. I mean, like 2 games against Packers, Lions, and Vikings, like those divisional games are huge. If they win 1 or 2 of those, like, they're in a really good spot. And I think that they can. You watch their defense. They're just not healthy and they're just really bad. So like they basically have to get lucky and get a bunch of turnovers or play perfect offensively, which they're not doing right now. So I don't know. I think there's good chances like fade the Bears, maybe not with the Vikings because I don't see right on them either, but and they could probably beat the Steelers, but like Eagles or at Packers, I think they could lose by like 30.
Yeah. Montez Sweat's starting to play better. That helps a little bit, but yeah, it feels fraudulent for sure with Chicago. The Texans win 36-29, basically, last second touchdown here. This is a 19-20 point game in the fourth quarter, Jacksonville winning. I mean, that actually felt fraudulent too, because there was like some special team stuff in the first quarter that got this game out of whack. But again, Jacksonville wins this game. They're 6-3, and we're having to have real like discussions about Jacksonville, especially considering their schedule is pretty soft. Now the Texans also have a pretty soft schedule. It's a nice win for them, but they moved to 4-5. They're chasing a little bit here. Should get CJ Stroud back, but kudos to Davis Mills. Takes advantage of the opportunities that he's had in the last game and a half, and they didn't quit. And Danielle Hunter was really the story in this game, and just more pretty average to below average quarterback play from Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I mean, Jacksonville entered the fourth quarter, you're up 29-10, and ended up losing. Became 29-30. Then like they scored like the last second, whatever, Sheldon Rankins fumble recovery when they were just trying to whatever pitch it around. So it's, crazy game for the Jags to blow, to be honest. And yeah, like Trevor Lawrence, 158 yards, 13 for 23. This Texans defense is still really good. It's just like, can they get anything from their offense? Like it's similar to Denver in a lot of ways, honestly. It's like,
they are.
What juice can you get out of the offense? Because if you can score 20 points, and any turnovers, or like offensively, you're in a good spot. But like if you can't, then it's just going to be tough to win football games if you can't score 20 points consistently, which they obviously did here. But it's kind of like, I don't know, felt like it was aided by some mistakes basically from Jacksonville.
Yeah, I agree. The Texans aren't done because the defense is so good, and they have both of the Colts games still on the schedule, and that's kind of their path. One more against Tennessee. Yeah, one more against Tennessee. They also have Buffalo and Kansas City on the schedule too, so it's a little bit that's tricky. But some winnable games, and the defense is good enough to keep them in. So if they can get some guys back defensively, if they get CJ Stroud back, it's they're a long shot, but they're not dead. Let me see where our odds are. Let's see where the Texans to make the playoffs plus 350 on FanDuel. Where are they? To win the division is interesting because that was kind of the path. Again, this is not a bet that I'm going to make. I'm curious what the odds are. All right, so they're comfortably behind Jacksonville. Colts are minus 450. Jacksonville's plus 650. You can get 12-1 on the Texans to win the division, which is the better way to go about this, I think, than to make the playoffs, to be honest.
The Texans, great team. They should hire Brian Dable or Mike McDaniel.
It'd be lovely for them.
It'd be awesome. I don't know if CJ Stroud really fits all that well with either of them. Maybe McDaniel, but they can make it work. I think it'd be certainly an upgrade from Caley.
Yeah, I think that's the calling card of all good coordinators, that you're going to be able to adapt and make it work for whoever it is.
Ben Johnson was not like a fit per se with Caleb Williams. He's pretty much, I don't know, the antithesis in a lot of ways to Jared Goff.
For sure.
But they're making it work, kind of.
Well, Miami-Dade might not go anywhere. He got another win, 30-13 against the Bills. Turned them over a bunch, ran all over them. The Bills defense is beat up. It's slow, and it's kind of interesting. Like Josh is amazing. This team's not super built though to like come from behind and chase teams right through the air, especially. Dalton Kincaid pulled up with a hammy here. Don't know the severity of that. That's not great. James Cook had a nice run, fumbled at the end of it. Same thing with a Josh Allen run, scramble. He fumbled, interceptions. Kind of one of the weirder games of the season because it wasn't even really this close. It was a 17-point win.
No, I mean, they got the shit kicked out of them. They couldn't run on the Dolphins, who have been playing better run defense as of late, which is kind of surprising. And then offensively, if the Dolphins can run, it makes Tua's life way easier. He still threw 2 picks, but both of them were like Mike McDaniel said for him, just like throw it deep. So
arm punts, yeah,
right. Which again aren't that far because Tua doesn't have an arm, but he got there. I mean, one of my biggest takeaways is I felt like every time I looked up, I just saw Keon Coleman not coming down with the pass. Like it was like Josh Allen throwing to Keon Coleman, and he just like didn't catch the ball. Like he had the 1 touchdown. Otherwise, it was just like he looked just like had never had positioning, never like he looked like so ridiculous out there. I mean, at this point, I'm ready to say Keon Coleman's like homeless man's Kelvin Benjamin at this point. Like this guy is just like so bad. I mean, I don't know if he's on the Devontae Parker spectrum yet, but he's getting there. Like he's, they're pretty similar because this guy, I mean, this guy sucks. Like at least Devontae Parker had a 1,000-yard season, I think, right? Like at one point.
Yeah, he did. It's some decent years.
But like doesn't separate, doesn't do all that well with contested balls anymore. Like, what are we doing here? What does this guy do well? Get him off the field.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we both came out of that Chiefs game still feeling like the Chiefs are the better team. That's a nice home field advantage, and I believe that Buffalo's a good football team, but I don't know. Currently plus 195 to win the division, just kind of wild. They are, comfortably behind the Patriots now. They go, back-to-back road games against tough defenses the next 2 weeks at Houston and so Tampa Bay, then at Houston, at Pittsburgh. So, I mean, they need to play some better football here. Again, they got at New England still in the schedule, but Patriots now minus 250 on FanDuel.
5.5-point favorites against the Bucs. I think if the Bucs got back Bucky Irving, then they'd be in a good spot to maybe like hypothetically just like kind of ground and pound, let Baker just like, take advantage of the secondary there. Well, I'm not sure that Rachaad White is capable of doing that, but
Sean Tucker went for 53 yards, broke the 50-yard streak against the Patriots.
Yeah. I mean, Sean Tucker looks great. I think he's actually kind of good. A much better runner than Rachaad. So.
Definitely better than Rachaad White.
Send Rachaad. I mean, this was another one. I had my list, didn't play it because of the Sean Tucker injury report, and like the number was already like 44. I'm like, you could get like 15 carries. So, it's like you're tough. Really playing with fire there. But yeah, I mean, Sean Tucker's pretty good.
Yeah, could be a tough spot there. They're really struggling up front. They've had a ton of injuries. Ed Oliver was kind of just icing on the cake there, and teams can really run the football on them. And it's a tough spot to be in January. I mean, but that's the thing is like teams can run the football on them. Teams can actually really throw the football on them too. Like it's not like they are like a run funnel per se. Like you can move the ball on the Bills. Like it's not a good enough, not a good enough defense. So, all right. Next we have the Ravens winning in Minnesota 27-19. I just want the Ravens to like put the hammer on somebody. This is an interesting, like, just way that the box score broke out. 42 dropbacks, 42 pass attempts for JJ McCarthy. Anytime they ran the ball, they had success. I mean, JJ ran a little bit too, but by far the worst run defense in the league last week. Again, looking at a small sample in terms of like yards before contact allowed. Those are the Ravens. Ravens are also another team that's getting a little bit thin up front, and good teams, at least teams that can run the football, can have their way against them a little bit. Tough matchup when you think about like the Bills against the Colts in the playoffs, or
Yep.
The Ravens, Colts in the playoffs, whereas like the Patriots need to throw the ball a little bit more. Maybe not, but I think kind of the Patriots need to throw the ball. Chiefs too, right? The Chiefs need to throw the football a little bit more. So any takeaways from Ravens, Vikings?
I didn't watch as much of this one as the other games, but I mean, overall, like, yeah, the Ravens just like didn't, I don't know, they didn't pull away as much as I would have thought or would have hoped. But 42 pass attempts for JJ McCarthy was kind of what I was actually expecting last week. But because they were up by 10 against the Lions, like, like they were in cruise control and they were able to run more. It seems like they want to be a little bit more aggressive with McCarthy in the passing game, but I'm not sure this is the place to do it. Jalen Naylor leading the team, 1 on 6 targets. Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison just did basically a whole lot of nothing. Average just depth of target for those guys was super low. So I don't know. Interesting spot to be in for the Vikings here, who JJ McCarthy, jury continues to still be out on him. But like you said prior, just give him a little give him some time here. We don't need to know right now, basically.
Yeah, we don't have to have all the answers. So bad fumble on a kick return for the Vikings here, kind of messed some stuff up. But they also had 7 false starts at home. I mean, like false starts is like a road penalty, right? Like it's like you can't hear, it's too loud. Your cadence is off, right? Some of that's got to be on JJ, I guess. Like something happened. 7 false starts at home. That's just absolutely bonkers. So Ravens have a little bit of bears going on here. Like defensively, they've made some shifts, but like they're really relying on turnovers defensively to get it done. I believe it a little bit more because they're better than the Bears are at generating pressure. They have more talent across the board defensively, but that gets a little bit tougher. Actually, the Ravens are going to start to like be a real pressure team. They're going to be able to get a ton here. I think the Draymond Jones move was good. Mike Green started to play really good ball. Kyle Van Noy is back. Like they start to have like assembly line of edge rushers that can come in and get pressure. What's going on with them this week? With the where are the Ravens? Oh, they're on the road in Cleveland. It's 9.5, between 8.5 and 9.5. Like it's
I don't know. I mean, you just mentioned though, like the run defense, right?
Yeah, like Browns first quarter, Browns first half, Ravens game type of situation where like 4 quarters for the Browns with their quarterback situation is probably pretty tough. But yeah, I don't know. Jenkins might be a look here.
It was crazy and we'll get to the Browns in a little bit, but yeah, I think that
they're next. You can go ahead.
I mean, they just kept running into loaded boxes. Like it was just like the Jets knew. They're like, all right, well, we're going to make Dillon Gabriel beat us through the air, basically. So there was like 8+ guys in the box. It felt like every single time I look up, whenever there wasn't, Judkins would run for like 10 yards and it'd be great. The problem was, it doesn't matter. 2nd and 9, 8 guys in the box, 7 guys in the box. They're just like, well, run it for back to the line of scrimmage. And then Dillon Gabriel would, throw one in the dirt or miss someone, or, occasionally he had Jerry Jeudy a couple times, but I mean, he sucks. He's just so bad. The Jets, I mean, a very bad secondary at this point, I would say. Not a good run defense. And so they just made it work because they knew matchup-wise that the Browns couldn't do anything else. And they just didn't care. Tommy Rees was like, we're just going to jam the ball. So felt good about my handicap about Judkins, overs, and alts. And he got the ball a ton and did nothing with it because they were just jamming into loaded boxes, it seemed like.
Yeah, it's another spot where some weird like kickoff stuff, like back to back. They had like a punt return for a touchdown, a kickoff return for a touchdown. All of a sudden, this game is flipped wildly. Again, just another insane spot where you're like, oh, the Jets scored 27 points. Well, yeah, the quarterback did not have a combined 100 yards. It's more Justin Fields shenanigans. I think both these teams have, I mean, obviously no aspirations for moving on, but like have to kind of figure out you can't continue to roll out either of these quarterbacks much longer, I wouldn't think.
No, and Fields bought himself another week almost certainly, right? Because they won. No thanks to him, but they did win.
Old school, like former player coach situation where like the win is good enough, right? Like that's kind of the mentality there for sure.
But then now let's see here. Who do they have this week? We're looking at Patriots this week.
Thursday night.
I mean, he's going to be in trouble. Like the problem is like they're not going to be able to run the ball, so it's going to be a lot of Justin Fields. So I'm not taking a Justin Fields under, I don't think, because like he's going to have to throw the ball a lot probably. I mean, we'll see what it comes out at, but like when you put him in those positions, he's at his worst. Like he's for sure at his worst. Yeah.
I don't know. He's been pretty bad. He's been pretty bad.
And now no Garrett Wilson probably too. It was just like, I don't know. He might have just given up. Like he just kind of looked like he was just riding the bike on the sideline, like mid game. I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, I wouldn't. The balls that Justin's throwing or not throwing because they don't want to throw the ball either. Like he didn't have many attempts. So like, 11 attempts, 11 pass attempts is crazy for 54 yards.
Cleveland dominated time of possession. I mean, yards. Time. It was just the big 2 scores, 14 points off of special teams plays in the first quarter. Like that's a different changes the entire complexity of the game and how you go from there. It's a team that's definitely okay not asking to get much out of him, and he's very willing to give you very little anyway. So yeah, what is it? 11 points, 11 and a half points on Thursday night.
Yep.
Yeah. No, we've climbed up to 13 on Pinnacle. Just kind of off market, 11 and a half pretty much everywhere else, minus 110. So get to chasing. You want the Patriots 11 and a half. Looks like 11 and a half is leaving the station here pretty soon. So
yeah, are we gonna get let's see here. Oh, well, I guess FanDuel started posting some other stuff, but they don't know who's gonna start for the Jets. So they only posted Drake May's number and not Justin Fields' number. Whatever it is, it'll be bet down. So if you're trying to bet the under, for some reason you're trying to bet the over, like what would it take for you to bet an over on Justin Fields? Like 100?
119.
Yeah, like 115, 119.
I probably wouldn't take it, to be honest. I still wouldn't take it.
The problem is he could get benched. Like this is
I was about to make the case for that. I think both of these quarterbacks, their unders are, I think, really, really live every week now, regardless, because there's legit chance of mid-game benching.
Yeah. I mean, and sometimes they just like don't bake that into the numbers, it seems like.
No. We had it with in New Orleans a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, New Orleans, Cooper Rush before the other time when he got benched.
Yeah, you nailed that one.
Yeah, I don't know. Worth noting going forward for sure. We'll see what it comes out at.
Yeah, it's kind of in that territory, it feels like. All right, New England on the road, 28-23. Big win against Tampa. Tampa off the bye. Just kind of felt like a situational spot. It was going to be a tough one for New England. And I don't know, they got it done. It's a good team. I think it's another situation like I was talking about even with the Bears where you have kind of a young squad, at least from like a leadership standpoint, and starting to believe, right? I think it's a team that believes that they're a good football team. It's kind of that mentality of the head coach. Drake May is legit. Got some juice from the rookies for the first time. Both Travion Henderson and obviously, shout out to you, played Kyle Williams. It didn't take much, but we got there with a 72-yard touchdown. They're just like island of misfit toys in terms of pass catchers, but now it kind of feels like everyone kind of has a role and it works.
And Pop Douglas again was like the long. I mean, his average of the target wasn't that long, but he did have like a 30-yard catch.
Yeah,
but only 2 catches on 2 targets on 31 pass attempts here. Mac Hollins was like kind of surprisingly their ex, but played pretty well.
Yeah.
So you can't really be too mad about that. And then Diggs was like the short to intermediate guy. I think they'll probably use Kyle Williams more on like situational spots. I think that makes sense as well. So yeah, I mean, that's the big story though is Travion Henderson breaking the 2 long runs. Looked good. I mean, any kind of juice they get out of him. I don't think he's very consistent, like on a down to down basis. I'm not sure that he necessarily is like good at getting what's like asked of him or like what he needs to get. But like if you need 50 or 60-yard run, maybe. I mean, that's like he's your guy for sure. He's certainly more explosive than any other backs. So that's exciting. Exciting for the Pats to have a running game there because I think it really helps unlock a whole new layer for them and just like ability to win, like kill games basically at the end of the game because that's an underrated aspect, I think, of winning football games. To be honest, just like grinding the clock for a couple minutes and getting out of there instead of putting pressure on your defense.
Especially with Drake May continues to take a ton of pressure. The offensive line has kind of been middle of the pack, and if there's no real threat for you to sustain drives or run the ball, especially as it gets colder, playoff situations, you have to do it to be a balanced team. Defenses just continue to play really good. They got 3 corners that are getting it done. They got a young, inexperienced duo at safety that are playing well. They got a mix of pass rushers. Like it's a good team. They're not going away. And again, I mean the schedule coming up here, coming off of this Tampa Bay game. The
Oh, yeah.
Jets, the Bengals. The Bengals game gets a little tougher because it looks like maybe it's Joe Burrow,
Mhm.
at Cincinnati, and then the Giants, which we should have Jackson Dart back there, but Jets, Bengals, Giants here before the bye, with still Jets and Dolphins week 17, week 8 to finish out. Tough games against Buffalo and Baltimore, but current favorite like plus 220 to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. Right, the other two teams we've kind of touched on, the Colts and the Broncos, and why we kind of doubt them in some of the situations. Patriots schedule though undoubtedly easier, and again they control the destiny there with that Buffalo game still at home.
Yeah, I liked your number 1 seed bet. I think that makes a lot of sense. Pat's number 1 seed in the AFC. I felt like, when I was watching, I thought Ibuka kind of cooked Gonzalez a couple times, which I thought was interesting. Which I don't think really is, I don't know, matters.
I think
all that
Ibuka is
much.
just really good.
Yeah, like that.
Baker had some dimes in that game too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he was just like putting it perfectly in between coverages. It felt like Ibuka was just like running over the middle and was kind of like putting in between 2 or 3 guys. And then also like he was winning against Gonzalez a couple times, which he just might be really good. So it's only caught 6 of 13 targets. It's just probably it's the big plays that we remember. Obviously, finishes with 6, 115, 1. So I mean, Pats are still a good defense. I don't know. I mean, the pass defense I think is good, but not like the run defense is like elite right now as it stands.
Yeah. I mean, Jones in the slot's been playing awesome. Carlton Davis, I joked about it. Like when we picked him up, like he had no point in his career missed less than 4 games at any point in his career. Like there's going to be a stretch where you miss Carlton Davis for 4 games. So knocking on wood, it hasn't happened yet. Thought it happened earlier, and he came back in that same. It was the Buffalo game, and came back. So if he can stay healthy, he was up for that one. He wanted to go back to Tampa and win, and they took care of business. So. All right, Seattle 44, Arizona 22. Not as close as that score would tell you, though. Good for the Cardinals for continuing to fight back. But this was like 35 zip in the middle of the second quarter, 38-7 at the half. A bunch of garbage time Cardinal stuff. But Seattle's a wagon, and I cannot wait for Seattle in the Rams this week.
12 pass attempts for Sam Darnold. Crazy that's like a thing because. Well, they had 2 basically identical strip sacks on Jacoby Brissett, where he was like dropped back, kind of started to, like his wind up to throw the ball, and then like got hit on the way back. So it was fumble, return for a touchdown. And just like that, it was 21-0 in the first quarter. And then they had like a couple of good offensive plays, and it was basically the game was basically over. Like it didn't really matter what happened the rest of the game here. I thought there was a chance that like starters might be pulled quicker, to be honest. But like Arizona started scoring a little bit, in garbage time. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Didn't matter though because the game was already over. So I don't think there's too much to take away here. If you gave Seattle a full like game here, I think that they would have absolutely annihilated this Cardinals defense. Basically, whichever way they wanted. They were running for like 8-9 yards a pop with anyone basically they gave the ball.
Yeah, Seattle's legit. And fun again. A real litmus test this week, going on the road in to Los Angeles, 2.5 mostly. There are some 3s that are juiced a little bit on the Seattle side. We can jump into that one too because the Rams took care of business against the Niners, 42-26. Just another dominant Rams performance where they're just cooking, right? Like that's another. You add Devontae Adams to the other side of Puka. With a healthy Matthew Stafford, this is what we're seeing. We're seeing a legit MVP candidate. He's the favorite. He and Drake May are kind of separating themselves, and I think it makes a ton of sense. 7-2 on the Rams side. Again, important game this week.
Yeah, these are 2 of the teams that I think you've been pounding the table on for like buying low basically all season. So now they meet. I mean, it's about what I would expect, like 2.5, 3-point favorites for the Rams. I'm not really sure. I think this is a good test for the Seattle defense and vice versa here for the Seahawks offense, which has been just like cooking with JSN, and you add in Shaheed. I think he didn't have to do anything. He only threw the ball 12 times.
He had 2 carries for 20 yards. Those are his big plays. Yeah.
Imagine you swap Cooper Kupp for Shaheed on that play, like the one long play that they had, and ideal uncorrelated game script there.
Yes.
So Yeah, tough there, but yeah, I don't know if I want to bet this game. I think I might just want to like watch it and see what happens, to be honest.
Yeah, fun one in the late window too, because the rest, we have Baltimore, Cleveland, and San Francisco and Arizona. So the NFC West is going head to head, both rounds. It's kind of like what they did to us this week. We just kind of isolate. Sometimes you get that late window game. They do that. I feel like they do it on purpose. Like they
Yeah.
like to kind of jam in a couple of stinkers, give us the big game to watch in the afternoon. So yeah, it's gonna be a great one. I also don't have a lean. I think both match up really well against each other. We'll just kind of see what happens. The Rams are like the perfect scenario of what we're talking about, where how good coordinators just figure it out, right? Good play callers just feel like this is the team I have right now, or this is the matchup that I have and our advantage based off of our roster and how it presents itself to the other team. And this is what we're going to do. And this is what we see with this spike in 13 personnel that we're seeing with the Rams. And just like, well, yeah, McVay always runs 11 until his team is better suited or you're worse at defending something like 13. It's just
Right.
cool to watch. And instead of like, this is just what we do, stop it, figure it out. The kind of like the Shanahan stuff that we've had in a few years in the past. It's like, adapt to what your roster is, adapt to what the defense does well or doesn't do well, and attack. And that's how you get, 42 points pretty casually. Because I think the Rams could have cooked for even more here.
Yeah, and I think yeah, I mean, like also too, like Terrence Ferguson's going to be, I think, a good force for them next year. He's still a little bit raw this year. Dropped one, had a good 30-yard catch. But
they're using him like a vertical threat. He's like a Demario Davis or Demario Douglas. They were like, "What the heck's going on?" Yeah, sure. Let's just use him for like 30-yard ADOT type stuff.
It's crazy because he wasn't that at all in college at Oregon. Like, I mean, they did use him a little bit deep. They could through a couple of times, but he wasn't. I mean, it wasn't like Vernon Davis or anything like ripping the seams all the time. So, yeah, it's with Higbee. Higbee's going to be gone next year. He's like contract is up, and so I would assume T. Ferg's a big force next year. But for this year here, it's like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe the Rams have to throw more. It could be like a ceiling game for Stafford here if like Kyren in the running game has been somewhat efficient, but I don't know. Maybe it's good chance to take some unders there and overs on passing yards for Stafford.
Niners 6-4, but again, at Arizona, Carolina, Cleveland before the bye. They come out of the bye, Tennessee. They got to go to Indy, and then they get the Bears in Seattle. So again, this is kind of the entire handicap on the Niners to begin with. Is just they're not legit. They're not a real threat, but they're going to be in the playoffs because the schedule is just too easy.
Yeah, they're going to win, what, 10, 11 games here probably?
Yeah.
Yeah,
look forward to betting against them in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, Mac Jones, by the way, has just continues to play fine. Like, he's fun to watch. Good attitude, just like the team's kind of beat up.
I think he very much could be, depending on how things shake out. Like, he could get into one of these like camp battle situations and like a Daniel Jones and take a job, or go into a spot with a rookie that they maybe someone slides in the draft and they don't want to give him the ball right away, and all of a sudden he can get 4 or 5 starts next year. Like, I feel like he's earned that right now, before he gets that next deal, next situation.
Totally.
Who knows? Could be a Raiders quarterback next year. See that.
Another bridge.
Another bridge. Just
one bridge to another.
Yeah. Brady, tries to clone himself and brings in Mac Jones. I
mean, if he already cloned his dog, like, he can, why not, just clone yourself, get yourself out there. It'd be like Chad Powers,
How do we know it hasn't already, the process hasn't already, he's like, as if the dog thing is a feeler socially, morally.
Yeah.
Because he knows he's baking in the oven at the place, and then just kind of wait and see how the public reacts to the dog thing before he unleashes. Actually, my oldest son is not my oldest son. He's me.
Yeah.
I was actually kissing myself.
Oh man, that'd be ridiculous.
Yeah. I'll never fully turn on Tom, but
he's a little strange now. It's okay.
It's tough, man. It's tough. All right, Detroit wins handily on the road, 44-22. It's kind of what we thought. What happened in this game. It was good to see that gear for the Lions. Jahmyr Gibbs, good at the game. Give him the ball a bunch. good things happen. Jameson Williams good at the game too. Give him the ball a bunch, and it can be pretty explosive. But the Commanders feel like they're playing up the slate. Mariota, run the ball, buddy. Like, come on, run the ball.
That was one of the ones that I felt that sucked that we lost. Got yanked in the last couple minutes too. They put in Josh Johnson, 1 yard away from the prop. Was on pace basically the whole game, and so that one hurts. I mean, part of it was they just didn't run that many plays. Like they couldn't stay on the field.
Yeah.
Chris Rodriguez started the game over Jaworski Merritt, got injured. They were basically even in carries before that. So no idea what to expect from that going forward. Treylon Burks got on the board here, 58 yards, three catches. Not dead yet. Debo, maybe it's over. 4 for 29 and a touchdown. Looks fine, but it's just, I mean, they're kind of just packing it up. They did make a change though before the show. Dan Quinn now going to be defensive coordinator for them officially. So like he'll be calling plays defensively, which could probably help. I mean, I don't know. They haven't been playing very well defensively at all, it seems like. No. So
also pretty injured.
Yeah,
it's just tough. But again, as part of the fade Commanders thing for the start of the year was that I thought that's an old defense and a lot more questions than answers. And last year felt propped up a little bit by a magical season from Jane Daniels. And if he's not going to give you a full slate of games, then this can go south pretty quickly. And we've had it now twice, right? Where these extended missed time. They're 3-7 with the bye staring them in the face. They got to go to Miami first, who's frisky right now, and then they get the bye. So 3-7 season's over for the Commanders.
Yeah, I think they're playing overseas too for that game.
That's right, actually. Yeah,
that could be very easily like a game they just don't show up for. We're looking at 2.5 point underdogs to Miami. Yeah, I lean towards Miami. I don't love Miami, but that's probably a lean for Miami, especially if Miami's run defense continues to play well. Then you're saying Marcus Mariota's got to drop back and throw the ball the entire game. Not ideal there for sure. Secondary hasn't played well. Miami's shown some pulse and running the ball. So yeah, I would probably 2.5 Miami. I can't believe we're saying this, but I lean towards them here, honestly.
Yeah, it's probably the right side. Deron Payne, right, is not going as well. He got 1 game suspension. So
yeah, Payne.
Achane's playing well.
Super well. Also on the Lions side too, thought it was notable. They stripped John Morton of play calling duties, which who could have seen that coming? Hire a guy with his his history, and like he turns out to be a total bum. And then Dan Campbell comes in, calls a bunch of crossers to Jameson Williams, goes 6 for 119 and a touchdown. Gibbs crushes. Montgomery plays, does Dave Montgomery stat lines, gets what's needed of him and nothing more pretty much. So yeah, I mean, offense looked good. Maybe it was matchup based, maybe it was Dan Campbell based. I choose to believe that it's probably a little bit of both. So we'll see how it does going forward.
It's actually it's a soft early window. It's not a lot of good football games in the early window next week, but the afternoon is pretty nice actually, because we not just have the Seattle and Rams game, we also get Chiefs Broncos, and then the Sunday nighter is good. Sunday nighter we get the Lions in Philly, so it's interesting to see what Philly looks like tonight. You get some guys back defensively. Obviously some additions to the trade market. Back home, shorter week, but that's also an interesting Sunday night game with the Eagles currently 1.5 point favorites, where it's posted pretty healthy total, 48.5, 49. So I definitely want to see what we see from Philadelphia tonight before. But yeah, that should be a good Sunday night football game before we get Cowboys Raiders on Monday night. So at least they do a good job giving us some good Sunday late afternoon and evening action.
They keep wanting to test us. Like, what kind of bullshit can we make you watch?
Cowboys Raiders nationally, those are like just like 2 of the teams from the 70s, and like so there's just a lot of national. I think Cowboys, Raiders, Steelers are such like national teams because they were just kind of the OGs of the 70s when football exploded. So those teams they'll always do nummies. All right, last game, Sunday night football, was the Chargers 25-10 over the Steelers. 2 teams that just week to week are kind of challenging to handicap. I thought that the Steelers were going to be able to get a ton of pressure here against kind of a beat up Chargers team, but the defense really showed out on the Charger side. They ended up getting a ton of pressure, kind of, I would say maybe the worst Aaron Rodgers game of the season here. And Herbert didn't have to do much in terms of just play volume and, kind of, again, there's so many mouths to feed here. McConkey was the guy, just no one really on volume, but, big plays and touchdowns kind of controlled this game. It's kind of a boring football game.
Yeah, wasn't a whole lot going on here. I had this one on my phone while we were watching a movie. Just like some of the Highland games, I just, I'm like, I don't need to hear what they're saying on the TV here. I'm going to, can tune in when I need to.
Missing Collinsworth, just drooling all over himself 3 or 4 times a game.
Yeah, right. Kamani Vidal, 25 carries in this one. It was like 2 weeks ago, he was the absolute workhorse. Came back last week, basically split carries with Jared Patterson. Then again, 25 out of 26 running back carries this week. Didn't expect that, that's for sure. Rodgers comes in, just stinks. Don't know what happened there. Just like was not a good game for him. And no Kenneth Gainwell on the ground. Kind of interesting too. All Jaylen Warren and then a little bit of Caleb Johnson there. I don't know, just kind of a weird. This is kind of the time of year where some weird stuff happens. This is just, Steelers can beat a lot of teams and it can also lose to basically anyone. And obviously Chargers are more than just like an anyone, but they're certainly in their current form not, I would say, a very good team.
Yeah, think of the Steelers, and they do this all the time. I always have these just some random games. This isn't even that, but like they'll lose a game at home, and they needed everything in that Jets game in week 1 to get that game, and then they won in New England, and they beat the Colts. Yep. So I don't know.
Lose to the Bengals.
Yeah.
No idea.
No clue.
I think where we talk about the Bears, I think they're a team that like the Bears could beat them by like 20, and I wouldn't be that surprised.
They play in 2 weeks.
Could also lose them by 20. Like this is a game where we have no idea what we're going to get from these guys.
Yeah. So Cincinnati this week, I don't know if it's going to be Burrow. I would imagine Burrow, probably not. If you didn't see the news, Burrow back at practice, 21-day window opened for him to return. So we're interested to see how quickly they run that back. But very much could be him this week in Pittsburgh. But we'll see. Pittsburgh, again, they get the Bengals game, then tough little stretch at Chicago, home to the Bills, at Baltimore. This is why you look at the current odds to win the AFC North. And again, you have a team with a losing record comfortably leading here, which is where are we at now? That's the AFC. That's the AFC. Minus 220 on FanDuel for the Ravens. Best odds. 280 other places. It's nuts.
I don't hate it, I guess. Like, aren't the Bengals have a 1% chance to make the playoffs right now? So, like, I don't even know why they're bringing Burrow back, to be honest.
I know. Ego, pride.
Yeah. Stupid.
Coach trying to save his job, I guess.
Probably. It's always like, it's the misalignment of coaching and ownership and GMs. They got these old ass owners who are like,
it's Cincinnati too.
And they're like, all right, well, I can do that better if I put my star quarterback out there, and even though reality is like the season's over for them. So
you get Dayball or Mike McDaniel in there calling plays.
Oh my God. Dayball and Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. There'd be 90% target share to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
No one else would see targets. It'd be awesome.
Get a defensive minded head coach in there, and then just give the play calling keys to one of those guys. It could be huge. I'm sure Bengals fans would love that one. So any other briefly any award stuff do you wanted to highlight, or anything you want to take a look at in terms of awards or futures? Anything you got?
We touched on two that we touched on the Mayo show. I like
gave out a banger that I think our audience deserves as well.
Yeah, so if you go on DraftKings, you can click on like win totals, like live win totals. Titans under 2.5 wins, I think, is a really interesting one. It's plus 140 right now. Titans, they play like two bad teams at this point, which is like the Saints and the Browns. They're worse than both of them, I think. And so, winning, they'd have to, and they only have one win right now. So to be clear, they have to win 2 more games the rest of the season. And they play a bunch of pretty good teams, and then those are the 2 worst teams they play. I think they're worse then. So maybe they win one. I'd be really surprised if they win both. And you're getting plus 140 odds to do so. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good look here at DK. I would say, should be even minimum. Maybe I would even say like juiced under probably.
Yeah, they play Jacksonville in week 18. So there's no scenario where like Jacksonville's doesn't need that game. You know what I mean? It's not like a situation
Right.
where you're going to have a team laying down for anything. And they have the only spot where they're going to be, I don't even know that they'll be favored in any of the spots. They should be road dogs in Cleveland. And I would imagine if they're favored against New Orleans, it's probably less than 3. So, and I think I agree with you, like New Orleans better than Tennessee right now. So yeah, that's a good spot. And the price is fantastic. So it's a good call.
Yeah,
Like it.
whatever you can get down. Plus, also you don't have to wait. I mean, you have to wait till the end of the year, but like at this point, we're already halfway through the season, so you only got to wait another 8-9 weeks.
Yeah, for sure. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I talked about I like the Pats #1 seed, again, kind of where they're at, and the other 8-2 teams I don't buy as much, and their schedules are a little bit harder, so that kind of works out well for them. They're kind of sitting at the top of a bunch of the award markets too. Like Vrabel's now the leader in Coach of the Year, #1 seed. They're favorites in the AFC. You get Drake May kind of right there with Stafford. I'm always fascinated by how that plays out in the market and how they want to like reward the team and what they deem to be the scenario. That's why I really do think like the Stafford MVP stuff makes a ton of sense, because if you're telling me that it's, veteran Matthew Stafford against second year Drake May and MVP, I can imagine a lot of old school MVP voters are like, it's like a career achievement award for Matthew Stafford, who's been really good. Never like great. I mean, obviously they won the Super Bowl. That defense was fantastic too, but like a scenario where like he's been good for a long time, you can give him an MVP knowing that like Drake May feels like he's going to be around for a little bit longer. Like just, again, awards are so narrative driven, as we know. So the Stafford angle on the MVP market, I think, is also pretty interesting. Jonathan Taylor, third on the odds board. I mean, 6-1, as short as 450 on Caesars. I don't know why we're still doing this. Like,
he's not going to win.
He's just not going to win. Like, it's a separate conversation about how awesome he is. Like, he's like minus 400 to be offensive player of the year. Like, that's his award.
Yep.
It's just
like almost guaranteed. No, almost not almost. I mean, yeah, basically his at this point, barring an injury, I would say.
Yeah.
Or sucking down the stretch.
Only interesting-ish MVP, like kind of long, not even longer shot, but like if the Seahawks win this week, Darnold's 10-1. And they just, he's playing really good and they cruise, they win. They have the #1 seed in the NFC and he continues to play really good ball. Again, it's tough when he's not putting up the counting stats that Stafford is, but again, if they solidify and win that division, win that conference top spot, that helps them a little bit. I just think he'll be shorter than 10-1 going into that game or coming out of that game if they were to win. But
yeah,
again,
also, I think that's a good one. I really don't see many other on the board, honestly, right now. I was thinking maybe like if Chiefs and Mahomes make a run and just like win a bunch of games in the row, but they would need to like kind of win out, I think, the rest of the season. Or, something like that. And then remember back when we were talking a couple of weeks ago, Baker Mayfield was like third favorite or something like that. Now he's down to 30-1. Just it wasn't sustainable what was going on. So
just such a telling yourself moment for people who just didn't understand how these things work. It's like, why is he not the favorite? Like, it's
not decided today.
It's not over yet. He's been awesome, but it's just not how it works. So, I don't know. Stafford at 3-1 is not a bet I'm like dying to make, but I think he's the deserved favorite, and I think a very, very, very viable option there. So, if that's your thing, you want to kind of get in the market, it definitely feels like a good look. So, defensive player of the year is interesting too. We shifted Myles Garrett, comfortable favorite now, plus 180, plus 185. I mean, look, Myles Garrett's the best defensive player in football. So, like, no reasonable person is going to argue against this. It's just he's the best defensive player in the league. If you want to give him that award every year, you can do it. It's like giving Michael Jordan MVP. Like, just sure. Like, okay. We just don't have a lot of scenarios once in the last 20 years where a defensive player of the year was on a losing team. It was Jason Taylor back in 2006 or 2006 with the Dolphins. Head coach Nick Saban, by the way, which is fascinating. So typically in the scenario, you would think that he'd have to like break records ish, just kind of have like a crazy good year. He's awesome, but he's not like setting the sack record. So it's fascinating to me. I don't know how to attack it, but I think it's interesting that he's now the favorite.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I mean, him and Brian Burns tied at 11 sacks so far this year, but we have one fewer game played for Garrett so far. So they've already, he's, one fewer game. So I think that's interesting. Nick Bonito is down at 9.5. And then Byron Young. Byron Young is nine sacks there. So I don't know. I mean,
I think Byron Young is very interesting in this market. I think Byron Young and Leonard Williams for the Seahawks are interesting because they're tied to good defenses. Again, team success matters. Byron Young is just, I don't know, he's not the name value of Jared Verse, but he's been better than Jared Verse. Jared Verse is awesome, but like Byron Young's been just as good.
Is 75-1. I mean, you probably seen him go on a run and have a couple more sacks.
Yeah.
And then it's possible. But yeah, Myles Garrett's just making headlines because he's the only one doing anything on the team, it seems like.
Oh, they also have the defensive rookie of the year leader currently, Connor. Carson Schlesinger.
Your boy Schlesinger. Yeah.
Yeah, it dropped. I touched on the show yesterday in the morning before we get started. I was like, hey, Carson Schlesinger's playing. They thought he was going to miss maybe a month with a high ankle sprain. And he went from like 4-1 down to like 15 or 16-1. He goes out and plays and balls out against the Jets. And now he's the favorite. And that feels like a two-man award. Nick Emmanwori on Seattle is playing awesome. Also attached to a great defense. That hasn't been such a team success award. You could be on a stinker of a team and just be the dude and get it done. So that's why I was okay even betting Schlesinger. But that feels like a two-man race. Like Jahad Campbell is sliding into a part-time role with Nakobe Dean back, and Abdul Carter's been good, but doesn't have any real counting stats, and that team sucks. So kind of a tough spot. So it feels like that's a good spot where if you have none of that right now, you can come in and get a little bit of Emmanwori and Schlesinger and probably be cashing a ticket in January.
February. Nice. I like that. Yeah. What did you get? Did you play in the Discord, right? Initially it was like 50 or 60 or something.
Yeah, I got 60. Yeah. 60-1. So
love that. Hopefully run pure the next month and a half, 2 months here, and we can get that home.
Against the Ravens on Sunday. Tackled Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson a bunch of times, get another 10 tackle day and feeling pretty good. Yeah. Huge. So, all right. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us. As always, make sure you subscribe here on the YouTube channel on the 444 Live, move the line wherever you listen to podcasts. Take advantage of the free 7-day trial of SharpStack. Come back on Sunday for Sunday for our live show before inactives come out, but Friday for props. So appreciate everyone hanging out with us. For Connor, I'm Ryan. We'll see you all next time. Thanks, everybody.